Hey guys, as usual, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. If you like the content, feel free to share it as well. And let's get into this. So, guys, like I just, this is what happens when you write a stupid bunch of movies that had no cohesion and made no sense. Oh, I can't even believe I'm even talking about this. This is so ridiculous. So yeah, so here it is. Yes, Star Wars just implied that Luke Skywalker's severed hand was used to create Snoke. Really, really, that's what we're doing now. So Snoke was a worthless, bum, stupid character that never did anything. Anything that he did that was of any consequence, like training Ben or anything like that, isn't even in the movie. So all you get is just this random dude. Oh, now I'm supposed to think Snoke is special, and I'm gonna buy the bargain bin, $2 toy now because he's made from Luke's hand. Like, okay, so this is just brutal. I'm telling you, man, Star Wars is just going down the poop chute so fast. These are all concepts Star Wars fans are still trying to make sense of. Exegol, Palpatine, Snoke, and honestly, I'm past making sense of it. I just think it sucks, and they need to just decanonize the sequels because they are just a mess. And by the way, if you hear the kids in the background, I'm sorry, my kids are outside. They're being super loud today for some reason. Okay. Many discrepancies have been made with the handling of the Emperor's return and the sky. Later, ancillary material revealed that Palpatine in Episode 9 was actually the Force essence of the Sith Lord encapsulated in a clone body. Oh, how exciting. Despite the appearance that the figure had somehow survived an explosion. So he still survived the explosion? Like, what? Again, no. Like, he's dead. He's been thrown down a shaft and blew up. We watched it happen. The Rise of Skywalker also revealed that Supreme Leader Snoke was a clone. Yes, which sucked. One of the many creations Palpatine and tinkered with during the time of Exegol, which we never saw. So now they're going to try and lump in. Now they're going to try and explain. Give Exegol like, oh, you don't understand our movies. You don't understand our $400 million budget movie. Oh, buy the comic book too, and then buy our books too, and then buy our novels so that you can understand a frigging movie. Like, write a movie that you can understand, how about, instead of 15 source materials outside of the movie to explain the stupidity of the movie. Oh, it's depressing. The latest arc in the 2020 Darth Vader comic run has worked to clear the air on many of Episode 9's inconsistencies. Yeah, sure it has. A new issue from the ongoing run has indicated that there's a strong tie between Palpatine's puppet and the son of Skywalker. Oh, wonderful. Snoke was created with Luke Skywalker's DNA, ? In Darth Vader's issue number 11. This is why I don't read these new comic books, you guys. Like, read the old stuff. This stuff sucks. It was heavily implied that Luke Skywalker's severed hand was recovered from Bespin, and DNA was used on the project to create Snoke. The scalpel of creation. I used it to make all of these things. So now it was Vader that was making Snoke now. It was Vader that was making Snoke. Like, I thought TFA took place 30 years after this dude dies. But now he's also, like, okay, so then where are all the Snokes? They only used one. They only had one good one. Look, I see a bunch of them in there. I see a bunch of them in here. And this is at least 30 years, if not longer, before the rise of, 30 plus years from the rise of Skywalker. So where are all the Snokes? Where are all the Snoke dudes? It should have been an army of Snokes. No, they only got one, right? Or what? Like, what? Like, this is nonsense. And then there's Luke's hand. Like, guys, oh my gosh. And there's a somebody made a YouTube video about a supposed possible opening scene of The Force Awakens that they actually mulled over, and the YouTuber actually made the scene based on it. It was Luke Skywalker's hand with the lightsaber in it floating through space, and then I think it lands on Tatooine or something like that. Guys, these concepts are stupid. Listen, I understand some of this stuff is Legends related and stuff like that. That doesn't mean it's automatically good. There's a lot of crappy books in a lot of crappy, IPs, and there's a lot of good ones. That doesn't mean that all these ideas are good. This idea that somehow Maz has Anakin's lightsaber, even though it flew down the thing in Bespin. And, there's Luke's hand, even though it flew down the thing in Bespin. And we're picking up all this stuff that, Ben has Vader's helmet somehow. He snuck down onto, killed a couple Ewoks and like, it's nonsense. They're creating fetishes, essentially, is what I would call it, with all of these items. So, Anakin lightsaber fetish, Vader helmet fetish, uh, Luke's hand fetish, the myriad of MacGuffins in the sequel trilogy, fetish after fetish, dagger this and Wayfinder that, and all of it. It's all just they're writing stories based all around things, a specific thing, rather than people and characters and the Skywalker family. It's nonsense. Anyways, additionally, it was revealed that the source of Palpatine's immense power and the might of the Final Order fleet is the massive Kyber crystal. Now, I've done videos. I didn't realize Kyber crystals were living beings that screamed when you cut them. I've never heard of that before. So when I heard that, like, force healing can heal Kyber crystals now, I just thought it was stupid, and I still think it is. I think it is. Let's let objects be objects. Let's, I mean, maybe this is part of their whole thing to make, what's his name, the Rock character, what's his name again? Genome or Nomi, or you guys know what I'm talking about, that guy from from iRepublic. Kyber crystal, the living mineral that powers every lightsaber, but a saber uses just the tiniest shard, the power to power the cannons of my fleet. I have harvested a mountain. So I've harvested a mountain. So the entire original trilogy. The original trilogy, what they are doing with this, with Palpatine being back, with this fleet, with, now we're involving Vader. There was always this thing going on behind the scenes. The whole original trilogy was basically pointless. That's what I'm getting, because you didn't fulfill what you want to fulfill by getting rid of Palpatine. You really didn't do anything. The only purpose is to make it so Rey can kill Palpatine, I guess. And just think about all this stuff, guys, that they're adding now to even OT timeline canon with Vader and everything else, to justify that they had to have this Rey character defeat the Emperor, so that she is, like, it's literally like, it feels like all of this is being done so that we can get to this final scene where Rey Palpatine is the hero. And it's like, was this worth it, Disney? Like, was it really, like, this is what you wanted? Like, this looks ridiculous. Where did they get this? Like, come on. You want to get a hand now? Like, unlimited power for Darth Vader's lineage. There are a lot of other things going on here, but the best attempt will be made to make sense of it all. Luke's hand, Snoke, what? It should be noted that Luke Skywalker's second hand had been discussed as a plot point for the sequel. Exactly, as I mentioned. Which is stupid. One big question always remained: how is a clone able to use the Force? It seems that Darth Vader is suggesting that midichlorians were extracted from Luke's hand and placed within. See, this is what they've had to do now, because that was an issue. That how do you clone a Force user? There was always this underlying thing that you couldn't do that, or you could, but you could. They wouldn't have Force powers. But of course, Disney Lucasfilm screwed that up too. And when you add something like that, then you have to explain it. The only way that they can see or conceive to explain it is to have a fetish, have an object that explains away what we did, which is now Luke's hand now. There's no telling if the Emperor would later use this genetic material for his own clone body as well. Well, of course not. We don't know, because they didn't put anything in the movies. Or if the clones seen in this comic issue were failed attempts at Grogu's. Oh, no, maybe it's Grogu's. Like, given that Snoke was a presence in Ben Solo's life at birth, the latter option doesn't seem likely. Supreme Leader, ancient being, now appears to be the same age as Ben himself. As for the enormous Kyber crystal, the comic seems to indicate Palpatine is torturing the Rock to fuel the power of his Final Order fleet, and potentially even himself. The crystals are described as living things, something previously suggested in other stories where they were bled or healed. Presumably Sidious used this knowledge Use his knowledge, his power gained from the crystal to shoot his essence across space. Oh my gosh, before his body tumbled into the Death Star reactor core. This is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. Honestly, any of you out there that are fans of this and like this, God bless you, because this is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. There's an interesting line. There's an interesting line in Return of the Jedi that seemingly always needed additional context, and at the very least, the Kyber crystal plot element was was provided that. When Vader tells Luke, "You don't know the power of the dark side. I must obey my master." It's clear now that he believes he can't beat Palpatine due to the powers yielded by the crystal. However, in hindsight, this also makes the Emperor's demise more questionable in the whatever. Anakin's return. It's the final piece of Darth Vader's exegol arc, and overall things are even more confusing than they were before. Exactly, that's all they're doing. They screwed up so bad, and they're just adding more and more and more. And then they're going to say, "Oh well, now if you really want to know, why Vader now, 30 plus years before Snoke exists or is alive, is there, and Snoke's there. Now go read our other book. We got this other book over here." They're just going to keep piling it on because they don't know how to answer. The questions that were left by Abrams and Johnson in these sequel movies were so terrible, especially after the Rise of Skywalker, that they don't have answers. And so they're just making things up. Oh, make it up. Making it up, and they're just going to have to keep doing that because everything that they're putting up as supposed answers to these questions are creating more and more questions themselves. And let this be a lesson to anyone who writes out there. This is why writing is so absolutely paramount. I mean, you can have all the flash and dash, and you can have all these amazing scene, graphically and cinematography, and you can hire the best actors in the world. You can do all those things, but if your movie is crappy writing, nothing you do is going to change that. Nothing you do is going to change that. It just isn't. Okay, with the knowledge, this is the end of it here. With the knowledge that he had Palpatine's machinations on Exegol, why didn't Anakin point Luke towards his Wayfinder that would guide him there at any point in the years following the Return of the Jedi? Yeah, exactly. More questions now. How is it possible for a Kyber crystal unconnected to the Zyston class Star Destroyers to enable their super weapons? If Snoke truly conceived of Luke's DNA? And does that make him even more of an honorary Skywalker than Rey? There are still many questions. Yeah, exactly. And it's just nonsense. There are still many questions to be answered regarding the Rise of Skywalker Palpatine's plotline. And right now, the answers being provided don't make much sense. Perhaps a future storyteller, will be able to come in and clean up the situation, but at the moment things are messy and continue to be as new layers of exactly what I was just saying. Regardless, this chapter of Darth Vader's run is complete, so maybe I'm not reading these stupid comic books, guys. I'm not. I'm just not. I'm not getting into anything post Return of the Jedi now. Like this just cements it for me. Like you just, I'm not getting into this. I'm not spending. I'm not going to say that a story is good when I have to spend years after the fact trying to figure out what the heck they were trying to say. I'm just not doing that. And those of you that are into that, have at her. Good for you. I personally need closure. It was supposed to be a 9-film saga. It was supposed to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the end is still not over. We're still a year and a half into this, making up nonsense, trying to answer stupid questions. For the love of God, Disney. Just literally, Kathleen Kennedy, get a podium, stand up, and say the sequels are decanonized, and we are going to make them alternate universe. That's all you have to do. And the thing is, there's no negative to that, other than your pride. Other than your pride and Ryan's pride and JJ's pride. All of the actors, their reactions to these films were negative. Post-film were negative. Many of them said they were treated badly. The actors all don't like it. And the fans that do like the sequels, they will still like the sequels. It's not like if you say they are no longer canon that they're all of a sudden going to hate them. And then the majority of fans that don't like the sequels, which I do believe is the majority, I've seen enough polls to express that to me. If you don't believe that, that's fine. They're going to be happy. And the hype you would have for a redone sequel trilogy, you'd make a ton more money again. So there's nothing to lose. But if you keep going down this road, this just adding more and more nonsense and stupidity and creating more and more questions, you're just going to make it worse and worse and worse and worse. And eventually, even fans that do like it are going to start going, wait a minute, this is not explaining things enough for me. This is getting stupid now. That's what's going to end up happening. Just end it. Decanonize the sequels. This is the stupidest crap. Let Luke's hand be. Stop with the fetishes. Stop with everything revolving around objects. Start focusing on characters and relationships with people. Everything. I mean, let's face it, even Mandalorian, there's an awful lot of stories centered around objects. I mean, Grogu's flesh and blood, and there was some emotion with him in Mando. That's fine. But you had a lot of other things that were, let's face it, you're basing a lot of your writing, everything is centered around things. And that's not what Star Wars was ever about. It was never about things. It was about people and relationships and family. Anyways, guys, that's my rant. Thank you for listening. If you like the content, please like and subscribe, and feel free to share as well. Have yourselves a really good day.